Pasadena feels easy. Downtown, the architecture is classic. Churches, City Hall, nothing flashy, just right. The kind of buildings that don't need to prove anything. Then you drift into the neighborhoods. Tree-lined streets, carefully manicured lawns. Someone's paying attention here, and it shows. Looks like a Renoir. Not sure who the artist is, I can't even read it. Emile somebody, $1,495. Artist signed lower left. Oil on board. Nice little painting. Dramatic landscape here. William Miller, British. They want $5,000. No. It was $6,000 and it's 50% off, so they want $3,000. That could be an interesting buy. And another painting by the same artist right here. So there's a pair. Same artist, William Miller. Look at the frame.
In your opinion, are they worth the money?
I don't know. It's hard to say. He's well known. He's listed. 19th century artist. English Welsh countryside. Could have come out of an old British estate somewhere. I'd have to do some research to know what it's really worth. Oh. Nice attempt. Now I don't know, again, I know who it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be William Adolphe Bouguereau, who painted a lot of these romantic paintings, often nudes, beautiful oils. But this again says William, it's 345, so it's not, obviously it's not a Bouguereau. Here's a clue. Look at the staples. So this is a copy made by probably a factory in China. The staples are the dead giveaway. Bouguereau's paintings never ever were held to the stretcher bar with staples. Too new. I mean, this is overwhelming. Just look at the number of paintings here. Old masters or copies of old masters? It's hard to know. I'd have to look at them individually. I mean, I said I could spend a week here. I could spend a month here trying to evaluate these pictures. More Orientalist work. Dutch school below. Look at this landscape, huge. 1870. Oyster gatherers. That's a very nice landscape. Arthur Hubner, 1854, 1915. It's $2,300. That's a very nice painting. But again, I'd have to really do some digging to find out what that was worth. The thing about this booth is all of the artists are pretty well identified. And there is a price based probably on auction records. Everything's 30% off. So if you wanted to buy a historical painting with pretty good provenance, I'd come to this booth. I love that winter landscape up there. There's another one back over your head there. Very nice. This portrait in the style of Renoir. Courtyard scene, barn scene, farm scene with a pheasant. No, it's not a pheasant. That's a peacock. Very well done portrait by William Keith, California Impressionist. Portrait of Irving M. Scott, 1895. I'm just not sure who Irving M. Scott is or was, but it's well done. The problem is portraits are specific, and pretty well the only market for that portrait are people that know the subject. If it's a portrait of a president, you've got a market, but I don't know who this is off the top of my head. He may be famous, but the market is limited. Very nice painting right here too. Look at this. Very nice. Dutch school, I think. Can't see a signature. Oh, well done impressionist lake or river scene oil on canvas. Alex Tankmar, $4,800. Look at the weave on this canvas. I think this is almost burlap, which sometimes artists had to paint on back in the day because linen wasn't available. I don't think I'm the first person that's done that. Okay. That's a plein air painting, California plein air painter. Very nice work. There are a lot of California plein air painters. As a matter of fact, there's a magazine called Plein Air. And in that magazine, you can find literally dozens and dozens of competitions for plein air painters. Most recently, the Borrego Art Institute in Borrego Springs just had their 20th annual plein air painting competition. Now, I can't recall who won, but you go look on their website, Borrego Art Institute. You'll see the winners of this year's plein air competition. 20th year for them. This is a very interesting piece. It reminds me of work by Carl Appel, the Dutch painter, who had developed a style of kind of childlike abstract expressionism. A major work like this, if it was by Carl Appel, would be $1 million. This is a very good way to get very close to something like Appel's work for a fraction of the price. Looks like this is $2,500. Excellent, excellent buy for a major work. Carl Appel is huge. He's in all the major museums. He's in the auctions. His style was called childlike abstractionism or childlike expressionism. And the appeal is not for everybody. It's not the kind of thing everybody would want to buy, but if you like that kind of abstract expressionist, childlike abstract expressionist, and you're never going to be able to buy a Carl Appel, that would be a good choice and a good buy at the price. Very nice landscape. But no identifying tag, so I'm not sure what that is. This looks like another tribute to Jackson Pollock. Another tribute to Jackson Pollock here. French scenes. French courtyard scene. It looks like oil on board. That's very interesting to me. You know, I have a suspicion who that might be, but it would be a very unusual thing to find an artist of the caliber that I'm thinking of here. Most of his work the artist I'm thinking of, most of his work is in museums, and his work is in high demand, so that would be very unusual to find this. The thing about the artist, I can tell you a couple of things about that French artist who this painting reminds me of, and that is he used to, instead of working on a stretcher, he used to tack his canvases roughly to the wall and paint away. So if I could see the edge of that canvas, I could find out if there kind of random tacked marks through the canvas, or if the painting went all the way over to the edge of the canvas, because it was painted on the wall, so we'd sometimes over paint past the edge of the canvas. The other thing is there any retouching? Because the artist I have in mind used to go into the Luxembourg Museum, now known as the Louvre, with a fellow artist. And while the fellow artist was distracting the security guard in the museum, he would go in with a little tiny paint box and correct little defects that he thought existed in his painting. And he was known for doing this almost all the time. He would come back to a painting he sold at a collector's house or in a museum, and he would come back with his paint box and make little corrections. So, not sure if it's him. It would be worth a fortune if it's him, but I'd like to have a closer look. So I'm going to see if I can get that painting down and have a look at the back. So we got it down. Actually, one of the staff got it down. It's beautiful, but it's not who I suspected it to be. It's a very nice French painting. And when I get a chance to look at the back, I can see it's by someone by the name of Marion Pike. And it's called The View from John's Room, Paris. It's still very lovely. Still very lovely, and the clips holding the board in are very unusual. I've never seen a painting, a board held with those kind of clips. So this is an old painting. I was hoping it was by Pierre Bonnard because it looks like his style, and if it was Pierre Bonnard, the painting would be worth millions. Literally, I think that painting, if it was a Bonnard, it would be worth between $2.5 and $5 million. So you could see my excitement. But that's probably as close as I'm ever going to come to a Pierre Bonnard. There's a huge waiting list for his work. Museums would love to have a Bonnard. He's really hot right now, and if it were the real thing with provenance, so we could track it all the way back to the artist's studio, easily 2.5, 3 million. But it's not. So it's not Pierre Bonnard. But that's okay. This is as close as I'm ever going to get to this painting. I'm going to buy this painting because the price is exceptional for the work. It's Marion Pike, View from John's Room in Paris. And I'm going to pay the grand total of $365 for this piece. This is the one. Let's go. Happy hunting. If you'd like to go deeper than what I share here on YouTube, visit johnsumner.com/insider. Join my email list, and I'll share upcoming projects with you and private releases before they're announced publicly. johnsumner.com/insider.